Hello, my loves. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. So welcome to February's energy update. I know we are already 10 days into February, but this is when it all shook out for me to come on live and share with you what's been happening. So as you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I am broadcasting here on Facebook, YouTube, and I'm also for the first time broadcasting the energy update on TikTok. So for any of you who are on TikTok who want to join me on YouTube, you can just head over to my link in my bio and you can join us on YouTube. So we are already into February, and before we dive into February's energy, I want to address the end of January and just kind of bring in some guidance that I've been receiving over the last 2-3 weeks. As many of you know, I took a few weeks off from being in the limelight and did some recovering. I had surgery and I am all better now, and energy's restored and ready to just be of service and show up. So during that time, that window of time, I received a lot of messages from my guides and really just observed the collective and everything that we were going through. Because I know for a lot of you that you felt a sense of defeat, that you felt a sense of confusion. I just felt like the shattering had happened at the end of January after all of the election stuff shook out. And something that I received a few days prior to the election was a vision and some information about two really big potentials of what could happen. And what they did was they gave me the understanding behind both potentials. And even though I did not come forward and share those with you, there was good reason why I didn't. And so I kind of want to share that perspective with you now, just to address this before we move into February's energy, because it really does have an impact. It really does. The understanding really is going to help to realign everything that has been going on within you. And many of you may not even need me to tell you this, but we're going to go down this road anyway, just before we get into February. So one of the things that they had shared with me is there was two potentials. There was one potential where everything kind of fell into place and realigned, and there was a sense of security and stability within the collective, and we were beginning to move forward under a new leadership, if you will, right? Under a new process, a new freedom, a new, I don't even have the right words to describe it. And the other one was going to be going the hard road. And the hard road isn't necessarily the wrong road or the bad road, but it's one where the power was handed to us. And that's exactly what happened. And so without bringing in names or any of that, this has nothing, I'm going to be super, super clear here. This has nothing to do with political parties or people necessarily. I actually don't believe in the political system at all. I don't believe that it's serving to the United States or any other country for that matter to be ruled in the way that we have been ruled for so very long. So this has nothing to do with an agenda. The information that I'm telling you is just a perspective. So anytime I say anything that doesn't resonate with you or is not your truth or is too quantum of an understanding, it's not something that you can compute, just receive it into your heart. And if it's not something that resonates with you, just leave it. But don't discount everything, right? My truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. And I'm never going to tell you that you're wrong and I'm right. This is just the way that I receive the information, the way that I have understood everything. Okay. This is through my lens of truth. And that's really important for you guys to hear me say, because we are in a society right now where everybody wants to blame, where they want to say, I'm right, you're wrong. My truth is my truth. And the reason why we get defensive, the reason why we fight for our beliefs is because when we have someone coming forward or society or anything coming forward and telling us something or questioning our truth, if you are not completely anchored into that belief, if you are not completely in trust with yourself and what you are feeling and what you are receiving, then you will experience doubt. You will feel unsafe. You will feel threatened. You will feel like what your truth is not true and you're wrong, and that invokes guilt and shame and all kinds of crazy emotions. And that is just not the case. We all have the right to believe what we believe, and our truth is our truth in this now moment, and tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, that truth is allowed to change, is allowed to evolve. Okay. So the hard road is the road that the collective chose. But you know what I feel like? I feel like it's the best road. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when we are in such a state of denial, and that's can also be, you know, choosing to be naive, choosing to stay asleep, choosing to not look at the truth, choosing to not investigate or dig deeper into what's right for you. So when we live in a state of denial, which a lot of people right now in this time do, they live in a state of denial. When you see for yourself the truth that has been hidden from you for a very long time in plain sight, you cannot stay in a state of denial. You can try, but it will not work. So instead of one person or one party telling you all of the lies, telling you all of the things that have happened, instead, we get to see them for ourselves. We get to watch what so many call the dark or the deep state hang themselves. And is it going to happen tomorrow or the next day? It absolutely could. Could it take 6 more months or 5 more years? It absolutely could. But what is undeniable is that we are in the Great Awakening. And a big part of the Great Awakening, as I talked about in January, is disclosure. And that's what this year is about. It's about disclosing the truth. And so as we go through this year, there's going to be a lot of truths revealed. And at the same time, there's going to be a lot of confusion or lies entered in at the same time. Because when both are presented, the side that wants to control the population has a better chance, right? Because they can say, well, we'll release the truth, but we're also going to release this. And that way we can spin everything the way that we want and get people to go from, is this the truth or is this the truth? But what's happened and what's been beautiful to watch is that people are doing just what this year is about, because it's not about just disclosure, it's about reclamation. It is about reclaiming our power. And we were literally handed our power in that transition. And they said, you now get to decide. You now get to decide what you want to do with your life, with your reality, and how you want to be of service, how you want to help the collective shift into a reality that is not so manipulated, controlled, into a reality where we are free, sovereign beings. Because for a very long time, we have been made to believe that we are free when we are not. No matter your race, gender, or skin color, or religious belief, or political alignment, we have all been slaves at some level and at some time or another. And so they're giving us our freedom back, and they're saying, you get the power to reclaim and choose and stand up and say, I am not going to believe this. And it necessarily isn't about fighting back or demonstrating or going out there and saying, this is the truth, believe my way, believe this, believe that. It's not about that, you guys. It's about seeing how this is happening for us. It's about living in a state of radical gratitude for what we have taken for granted for so long. It is about radical responsibility that you are the creator or co-creator of your reality. It's about you choosing to align with your beliefs and then be the change that you want to see. Because you cannot step into any reality, any desire, if you yourself are not willing to be that change. So if you were putting all your chips on one person or one party or one thing happening that it was going to shift the world completely, then you are saying that you're a victim. And you are saying, and a lot of people might get triggered by that, and I don't mean it in any sense but pure love. But it's saying that you are powerless, and we are not. And so we've been given the gift of taking our power back as a world, not as the US, and saying we are not going to allow for these injustices anymore. We are going to take our power back, and we are going to do what's aligned from the heart space, where everything we do is for me, for you, and for the whole. And that's what we were given. We are given the opportunity to choose what we believe and what we desire to be, to have, and to see. And to get off our butts and to take radical responsibility for our part in this. And that happens inside, internally, first. This is the gift we've been given. The example that they showed me on a couple of things is, one, they said, this isn't about me telling you anymore when something's going to happen, which there will be times that will be. It's not about me telling you what's to come so that you can brace yourself or prepare yourself, because things shift and change. And now that our energy as a world, as a Gaia itself has moved, right? The collective is no longer sitting in a 3D plane. It's sitting in a 4D plane now. We have effectively moved into a 4D plane of consciousness, of density, meaning not a 3D plane, a 4D plane. So now there's going to be a lot more things revealed, a lot more energy felt, right? The veils are pretty much non-existent. So in that 4D plane, we have more choice. We can see more, right? The light's turned up. We're beginning to see more things that we didn't know were there before. So a couple of things that they gave me, they said, one, they're not wanting me to give you guys dates and approximates and giving you guys the psychic information of what's to come. They want me to prepare you instead. Prepare you to be able to choose what's in highest and best alignment for you so that you can respond versus react when things happen. Not that you won't, sometimes I will be giving you when things are going to happen, but for the majority, it's about preparing you to handle whatever comes our way. And the second part was, they gave me the example of a farmer, a strawberry farmer to be exact. But they said, if someone decides to be a strawberry farmer, they have some choices. They can be all about themselves and lining their pockets and do the cheapest, littlest amount of work on the crops so that when they put them out for us, for the world to ship out, to everyone, that they receive the most amount of money. Option 2 is they put everything they have into their crops, making it the very best that it can be, sacrificing themselves completely so that we get the very best product at whatever expense it takes, and they lose. Or they could do option 3. And that is that they can do what they know is best and aligned for both society and the collective that they are feeding and themselves. And in that, when they're serving both, when the farmer who's doing all the work to bring forth the food, or when the teachers doing all the work to bring forth the information, right? It has to be in alignment. What we are doing individually has to be in alignment, not just for you or for me, right? But for me, for you, and for all. And that's what we're seeing in the world. We're seeing the ones who are all about themselves. You see the people out there that are like, let me give you every last dime I have and every piece of information and every piece of everything. Let me just give you the world for free. And this side's like, let me sell you everything. Let me take everything. Let me control everything. But there is a beautiful 0-point field where we benefit everybody. But if you are still living from a space where you are not serving yourself first, you are not helping humanity. You're not even helping your own family or your own children. You're hurting them. Because if you're not full, if what you're doing is not also in alignment with you, not only are you teaching people that you come last and showing your children or your followers or your coworkers or however it is, right, that you want everybody else to be happy at no matter what the expense. Or you can choose to say, is what I'm about to do or say not only in alignment for me? Does it not only feel good for me, but is it also going to help another? Because if it is, if it's in alignment for you and for another, it's also in alignment for the whole. Okay, so if you guys have questions, you can drop them below, and I will see if we have time at the end. And again, if you're on TikTok, you can head over to YouTube if you prefer and watch me live there as well. So let's get into the meat of February's energy update. Before we do, I want to let you guys know that I did put a comment in here that is welcoming you guys to my monthly synergy workshops. Every month I put on a 4.5-hour workshop on a Saturday where we get together to make quantum leaps from where you are to where you want to be. And this is your chance to work with me, since I rarely offer one-off sessions anymore. Your opportunity to work with me on camera in a group setting and tell me what your struggles are, what your blocks are, whatever is going on in your life that you need assistance from, and allow me to take that time with you. These workshops are magical and they're super affordable, and it's perfect for a little bit of support during all of this chaotic energy that we're feeling. So if you feel called to that, there is a link in the comments on YouTube and Facebook for you guys to learn more about that. So February's energy is the integration and preparation of the new paradigm, which is going to set us up for all of 2021. So I told you guys in December, right, that the middle of December to the middle of January, we were going through this shift where we were entering into a sector of space that had a higher potent, higher level of energy, more photonic light than we are used to feeling and experiencing. In fact, as a collective in this very now moment, we have never experienced photonic light this rich, and the gamma rays and different technologies that are coming forth are amazing and ridiculously intense. And I'm sure you guys have all been feeling it. Once we moved through, I would say around the 11th, 12th is when we kind of docked. And then we went through a little bit of reorganization, and then we went through a 10-day period in January from the 20th to the 30th of a karmic purge. And we're still feeling some of the remnants of that karmic purge. I don't know about you, but my dreams have been crazy intense and wild, not even making any kind of sense. Literally karmic purge, subconscious dumping of some heavy energies has been experienced on my end. A lot of old things coming up, old relationships showing up, some of our deepest fears showing up, providing us an opportunity to face them and integrate them. So there's been a lot of energy. But once we exited out of that karmic purge, we began to go through an integration process. So we, as physical beings that have physical bodies, we have to integrate that light into our body to feel grounded, to feel connected, to not feel chaotic, anxious, or, just like you have to move, like you got to do, you can't sit still, right? A lot of people are feeling the energy coursing through them. So February is all about that integration. It's about anchoring the light. And any time that we do an anchoring of the light, where we're literally collectively integrating light, it's got to make space. If you got energy coming in and you have things that you have been attached to, that you've been holding on to and unwilling to face or deal with, then that stuff's got to be brought up to the surface, brought up to that heart space to be integrated. And so the three major themes of this month are releasing attachment, clarity arriving, and determination. So releasing attachment is about really facing those things of what is coming up for me? What are my biggest fears? What is activating my nervous system, right? Because I told you guys January, this whole year is going to be affecting our nervous system. It's going to be affecting our pineal gland and our thyroid gland and our throat. So this year, we are super sensitive to that high frequency energy. And that means we are feeling more. We're feeling the collective more. We're feeling people more. Even people who you wouldn't consider to be awake, you're noticing how they're now using the language of an empath, or they're talking about how heavy they feel or how angry they feel, because they're picking up on energies and they're not discerning that what's their energy and what's somebody else's, right? Or what's the collective's. So there's a lot of people that are just now having these layers peeled back, and they're like, oh my God, I feel this so intense. I've never felt this before. What's wrong with me? What am I going through? Why is my mind so dark? Why is my body so heavy? Why am I so anxious all the time? There's a lot of people asking these questions, and they need our support. So if you're on here and you're a light worker, if you're a healer, if you're a teacher, a coach, an empowerment guide, someone who just wants to make a change in the world, then your job is radical gratitude. It is radical compassion and radical forgiveness, because we need to honor people where they are on their journey. We need to stop judging them for being asleep or 3D or 4D or 10D or whatever it is. We need to look at people where they are and see that something had to happen to them to make them be in so much pain, to make them project that hate or anger at other people, whether it's the keyboard warriors out there that like to stir up drama, or it's people that you experience in physical. But when someone is mean to me, when someone says rude things or acts poorly to me, my very first thought is, what happened to that person? What kind of pain did they experience? Because remember, just like this is a thing that I tell my kids all the time, right? If you get food poisoning, what happens? Your body gets sick. It's like, I got to get this out. I got to project it. I got to throw it out, right? And so it comes out. It works no different with energy, because everything is energy. Food is energy. I am energy. This board is energy. The computer that I'm doing this on is energy. Everything is energy. And so when we hold toxic energy in our body, when we attach to that, it wants to projectile out. It's a poison. And so if we're not aware of that, and we're not in that consciousness of what I am doing is my own pain and I don't want to feel it, so I'm pushing it away and onto other people. When that happens to you, you can then be like, oh, this has nothing to do with me. This person is in pain. This person is wounded. And that doesn't mean you have to accept that treatment, by the way, but it means that instead of being defensive, instead of wanting to bite their head off or do something like that, instead you say, wow, this person is really wounded. And what they need, thank you for the donation, what they need is compassion. What they need is for me to not take what they're saying personally, because this is nothing about me. It's just not. So I want you guys to really think about that and really start integrating that into your life of being so present that when somebody is rude or unkind, that your first reaction or response is in your mind is, wow, I need to really send out some compassion. This person's in a really bad place. And 2, let me remove myself from the situation because it's not serving to me, right? So you can have compassion and love people from afar. You don't have to be inflicted by emotional or mental abuse or even physical abuse. So we do have a new moon in Aquarius, which is tomorrow. I am someone who is ruled by her new moon. So new moons always make me tired. So I have been sleeping a little more lately, but this is an interesting thing that's happening tomorrow. In fact, this whole week has been intense energy. I can't say that enough. We are in the energy of rebirthing. Again, we are birthing a new paradigm. We are literally, this new moon is helping to set us up for all of 2021. Okay, so that doesn't mean that everything's going to happen tomorrow, but what happens tomorrow, there's going to be a stellium I'm going to talk about for a second, is, remember, anytime we have any kind of astrological alignments, I am not an astrologer. I just communicate with the planets. I'm an energy reader. So I tune into the energy of the sentient beings that are the planets. There's a stellium that's setting up. Anytime there's a stellium, anytime there's an alignment, anytime there's a square or a conjunction, what it's doing is it's opening up a portal where certain codes can come in that kind of plant the seeds that activate, and that energy then plays out throughout the year. Sometimes it plays out for a month or 2 months. This energy is going to be playing out for all of 2021. It is very big energy. So we have Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and the Sun and the Moon in Aquarius. Never, or I shouldn't say never. They're saying don't say never. It's been a very, 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 very long time since that's happened. Not only that, but it is squaring Uranus and Mars. Okay. And remember, Saturn and Uranus are like father and son. They're very rebellious with each other. So this is very volatile. And then you got Mars, right? Mars is all about action, forward motion, busyness. It's also it's a planet of we got a lot of war energy here as well. So this is volatile energy, very volatile energy. So a lot of you may not be able to sit still right now. A lot of you may be feeling that energy. And there is a lot going on in the collective. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It does matter, but in reality, it doesn't matter. So there's that dualistic perspective. Your life is not dependent upon what people decide, right? Rulers, government, whatever. Your life and the quality of it is not decided by anybody. Freedom is a state of being. Unless I go looking for information, unless I go looking into the news or it shows up on a social media platform that I might be on in the moment, I don't get into it. I don't play into it. I try to stay as far away from it as possible. I literally live in my own world of bliss. And as I walk down the streets and I walk through stores, I see things differently than most people because I'm living from my heart space. My heart is my radio. It's telling me everything I need to know. So the more that I can breathe into my heart and say, how can I see this through my heart? How can I see this? I don't see what other people see. I don't see the violence. I don't see the hate. I don't see all of the things that are happening that are terrible. My life is actually wonderful. And everybody has that ability. Everybody has that choice to live in that state or to see the world through the eyes of the victim. Right? It's always your choice. You always have a choice. If you ever hear yourself saying, I can't, I don't have a choice, if you want to deem something as wrong, then that's going to be what I would deem as wrong because you always have a choice. Always have a choice. Because when you can't do something, right? If someone takes something away, right? That means there's another opportunity. There's another opening, another way for you to do what it is that you want to do. You just have to think outside the box. You just have to understand that we live in a world of quantum possibilities, infinite possibilities. Literally, whatever you desire, whatever you dream, whatever you fantasize about your life being, you need to start really getting clear on what you want your life to look like over the next few years. And then choosing, making a plan, creating a structure to help you get there. Right? This isn't about just, I think the thought and it comes. There has to be inspired action. There has to be a demonstration. You have to be that change always. So whatever you want to see or however you want someone else to be, you better make sure that you are doing the very same thing. Because you will only get what you put out. That's what you will get back. And so if you can walk around with this unconditional gratitude for everything, I mean everything, because everything is energy and everything, if everything's energy, then everything is offering us information and all we're being asked to do is to appreciate it. Your life will become so much more rich, so much more abundant. So this energy is almost over, right? So there's always a 3-day portal before the moon. So 3 days before, 3 days after. So about 2 to 3 days after, you're gonna start feeling the clarity. The clarity is going to arrive, and it's going to feel. You guys, we're in Mercury retrograde right now, and so when that happens, technology is crazy, and sometimes our internal communication can be a little haywire depending upon your Mercury placements. But right now, I feel so many people are in this dense fog. So many people have let go of businesses. They've let go of relationships. They've let go of programs in their company. They've let go of jobs. They've let go of friends. They've let go of fears and worries. And they're sitting here with this dense fog inside of them going, I don't know what's next. I don't know what to do next. I don't know where I'm supposed to go next. They're feeling uncertain and blocked. And I'm telling you, the winds of change, this Aquarius energy, right, is going to sweep it out. Clarity is coming. Have some patience, believe. that what you need is going to shake out over the next few days, right? What you need to know is going to come. So tomorrow, your most powerful thing that you can do is be present with yourself during the new moon. Go inward and really get clear about what it is that you want to see in your life. Really get clear what it is that, who it is that you want to be. Really get clear and plant the seed that this is who you're going to be. No matter what it takes, you're going to do it. You are going to be responsible for the change you want to see. So for the clarity that's coming, a lot of people, this is going to be a complete and utter change in direction. This is going to be a refocusing or a reestablishing. I feel like I like to call it like the rebranding, like we're redoing ourselves. We're like, okay, we're in a new energy, right? We are coming into a new paradigm. We're going to have a whole new way of seeing this world. Who do I want to be? How do I want to behave? What is acceptable to me? What am I available for? What am I not available for? Like, get super clear. You're going to be doing these things. What do you want your life to look like? So clarity is coming. This is actually going to be a pretty short window. There's probably going to be about maybe a little over a week of that clarity before you're going to come into level 3, which is determination. At the end of the month, it almost feels like a block. It almost feels like when I tap into the energy of it, it's like we get this clarity and we're like, oh my God, I know what I want to do. I know who I want to be. I know where I want to go. I have all the inspiration. I have all the ideas. Like, it feels amazing. And then all of a sudden we go to take the action to do it. And it almost feels like you're hitting a wall or you're hitting a block. I feel like there's like, you get up and you're like, oh, immediate defeat. And so that's why it's determination, because it's going to take courage, commitment, and willpower for you to, at the end of February and heading into the first few days of March. And I think this is actually going to be a theme in March. You know, it's especially for those, like, we went through this rebalancing, and March is going to be more like action oriented. It's like, now it's time to get up. It's going to be let's do the things. Let's go time. It's time to get excited and it's time to be productive. But as you go to do it, it's going to take a lot of your energy. It's going to take a lot of your commitment. You're going to have a lot of echoes coming in. You're going to have a lot of those old fears. You're going to have a lot of those. It's like testing. We're going to test you. How much do you believe in what it is that you want? How much do you really want it? And not to the point to where you have to like force or bulldoze or do things that are out of alignment. It won't feel like that, but it will be a new feeling of something of, I have to have courage here to step into this new thing. I have to have the willpower to have the structure I need to make this not only successful, but sustainable, right? No matter what it is. It's going to take some energy. It's going to take some work. And so I will also be announcing soon, I'm not going to really talk about it right now, but we'll be announcing something very special for the month of March that I'm going to be offering for free. So if you don't already follow me regularly, make sure that you are a subscriber, a follower, and that you have me on notification, because you're really going to want to be a part of this. So it's going to be something exciting. So I asked, what are some things, and I've been talking about them throughout this whole live, but what are some things that we can do collectively or individually to really help us navigate this? And that's some of the stuff I've already been talking to about. So taking radical responsibility, remembering that you are not a victim ever, and that you always have a choice. Everything is always happening for us. And when you think about, this is happening for me, and when something bad happens, right, you can either laugh at it because it's not that big of a deal, or if something bad happens that is a big deal, you can look at it and say, what is this teaching me? What is this trying to show me? What is this trying to communicate with me? I believe that everybody should have the ability to read energy. And we start with reading your body. We start with reading what our own reality is giving to us. It's very important that we learn how to read and connect with the parts inside of ourselves, right? This is everything I teach is about reading, discerning, trusting, and loving, knowing that everything you need is within you, not outside of you. Now is the time to really get good at that and to practice that discernment, to practice understanding and communicating with yourself so that you can begin to communicate and understand other things outside of you. But it starts with you. So taking radical responsibility and knowing that you are never a victim. And, you know, oftentimes when there are things when we are the actual victim, like for me, for example, I wrote in my book, I wrote about my abuse, some of my abuse. And that's probably why it took me so long to finish the book. It sat at 1 page into chapter 9 for a whole year, because once I released it, I had to be willing to face the fear of those people reading it and saying, oh my God, she's talking about me. And she's putting her truth out into the world. I had to be prepared for what's to come from that. So that's what a lot of people are going to be going for. There's going to be a lot of people who are really ready to make those big steps and to step into that new energy. But if they're not willing to take radical responsibility and be prepared for what's going to come when they step into that light, right? You have to work on that. You have to face those fears. You have to face those insecurities. But when you are someone who is a victim of abuse, again, I could sit here and say, oh, poor me. I have been abused mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally, and I don't feel that way anymore. I actually have a deep sense of gratitude and acceptance for what I've gone through in my life, because what it has done for me is allowed me to reach such a wide audience of people who are in pain and to help them navigate through it the way that I did. And that's a gift, to be able to reach so many people. And so for me, I endured so that I could nurture. I went through those things for a purpose. It wasn't for nothing. I took my pain and I put it into purpose. So I don't feel like a victim anymore, right? I feel like a victor. I won because I took the pain that I experienced and I did something with it. I made it into something that served not just me, but the world. So whatever is the darkest thing you are going through or have gone through in your life, whatever the biggest struggle is that you face on a day-to-day basis, whatever the wound is that comes up the most, that's your life purpose. Your life's purpose is what you're here to learn. For me, it's to face my fears. For me, it's to face my fears, and it is to take what is worth preserving and graft onto that new innovative ways. So to keep that core wisdom from the ancestors, from the ancients, from all of my lifetimes, and to remove anything that isn't serving and instead replace it with things that are, so that I can take that original wisdom, right? We look at history, how history repeats itself. We can take what is the good foundation of history, and we can release what no longer works, and we can add to it. That's called evolution, right? When we evolve, we take the core and we graft new things on, releasing the things that didn't work. This worked, this didn't work. Let's get rid of this. Let's try this. Let's add this on. So whatever you are going through in your life, I want you to see what that theme is. What is the theme? The theme that keeps showing up over and over again. Is it not worthy? Is it not enough? Is it abandonment? Is it doubt? Do you not trust yourself? Do you not love yourself? What is the theme? That's your purpose. That's what you came here to experience, to evolve your consciousness. Okay? It's really important that you guys hear me when I say that. So no matter what is happening, if you can hold the knowing that there is a purpose, even if the purpose hasn't revealed itself yet, it can help you move out of the state of victim. Radical gratitude. I've been talking about that throughout the whole entire live. That's been something that's been coming in for me thank you for the donation, for the last couple of weeks. I've been talking a little bit in my community and other places about the law of conservation, and that the law of conservation says that everything is energy. And if everything's energy, and energy offers us information, then everything is providing a service for us. I can have gratitude for this board because this board allows me to have all of my key point notes available for me. I can be gratitude for my desk riser so that I can stand when I do these lives. It's literally seeing the door and being like, thank you, door. And I know that sounds silly and over the top. I am kind of over the top kind of person, and I'm okay with that. But when we look at everything as a living energy, that energy came together to make this form to support us, we look around and we go, holy shit, I am so abundant. All of these things are formed by energy and they're providing something for me. The more that you can be in the energy of gratitude and appreciation, the more you naturally raise your vibration. The more that you tell the universe how thankful you are for what you have. Because if you aren't happy with what you have, if you're not happy with where you are, when you get to where you want to be, you're not going to be happy either. It's about learning to come into radical acceptance as well. Because when you're in acceptance, you're like, this is what is. Now, how can I look at this, what is, through the lens of gratitude, through the lens of love and appreciation? How can I make this feel abundant? How can I make this feel rich? How can I shift my perception, my perspective? And think about what you're teaching others and demonstrating to others when you're doing that, especially children. When they see you appreciating every little thing, it's such a shift in our energy. It like naturally brings you into your heart space. So it's a really beautiful thing. Be willing to unlearn. Pretty simple, self-explanatory, right? A lot of the programming and patterning that is in our minds right now I used to say, who is this one person who wrote this book of rules? Like, have you ever noticed some of the beliefs and standards that we kind of have across the board as a collective? Do you ever scratch your head and go, who even thought of that? Like, why do we do this? I always wanted to know, like, where's this big rule book? But there isn't one. There's the one that they want us to have, the one that they use for their programming that they put out into the world. We have the Constitution, we have our laws, we have, whatever you have in your country. But whatever you believe, whatever makes you, whatever programs are running your being, I really want you to start asking yourself, why do I do this? Is this mine? Is this even my belief? Is this my program? Because if it's not, then unsubscribe to it. You don't have to know that it came from mom or dad or school. You don't need to know where all of that stuff comes from. All you have to know is that, do I really believe this? Do I really believe I'm not good enough? I posted a TikTok, I think it was yesterday, talking about, if I was to ask you to name all the things you love, how long would it take you to name yourself? I had a lot of comments from people who said, I never even thought about it. Or I would never think of myself because I hate myself, or I'm not worthy, or nobody loves me. And it broke my heart, because feeling like you're not worthy or you're not enough, that's hard, that's heavy. But do you really think that you would be here at this time in this world? Do you really think that you would be alive right now if you weren't worthy? If you weren't important? That doesn't mean you have to be someone like me or Tony Robbins or a politician or a celebrity. You're important because you're an endangered species. There's nobody in this world like you. And you designed this life. You designed yourself. You designed your plan, your life plan, and your purpose, and all of your challenges and all of your obstacles. You designed them all. You believed so much in yourself that you put some of the biggest mountains in front of you because you knew you could climb them. So the next time you feel like you can't get through something or you're not worthy, I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you, or just sit with yourself and ask yourself, is this even possible? Is this even true? Because I set my life plan up. I laid everything out, the big obstacles, the big challenges, the big wins that I was going to go through, because I knew the lesson involved. I believed in myself before, as I built this plan. So if you believed in yourself then, you should believe in yourself now. And know that you absolutely are worthy, even if you don't feel like it. And it's important to feel those emotions, but it's important that you don't hold on to them either. It's important that you allow yourself to feel that you don't feel worthy, or you're not enough, or whatever that may be for you. And then you say, but you know what? I know that can't be true, or I wouldn't be here. This is the golden ticket, you guys. So even if you're just a mom at home, being the change, demonstrating to the world and to her children what it means to live from your heart space, what it means to be a conscious human being, then that's what you're here to do. And if you feel called to step on a bigger stage or to play another part in humanity, then you do that. But please know that no matter what you do or who you are, you have an important role in shifting the world. You have an important role, or you would not be here. Plain and simple. And at the end of the day, that role is to come into union with yourself. Is to love and trust yourself. And if you so choose, to help humanity. And you do that simply by being the change. By being the change. So maybe instead of making that rude comment or getting into an argument, maybe you take a beat, maybe you take a breath, maybe you walk away and say, you know what? If I trusted myself, if I loved myself, if I wasn't threatened right now, if I felt safe, that we could both hold different opinions, how would I act different? What would I say? How would I show up different? And see what changes. Play in the field of potential, my favorite. The quantum field, the 0 point. Potential. You can literally have anything you want. And for some who are on hard times and are struggling, you're probably thinking, yeah, right, I want all these things. Well, the reason why we have desire in the first place is so that we will get up and walk towards it. So that we will use our energy to create. We have to experience the lack in order to have the desire born, right? This is duality. And we're still learning in a dualistic plane until that changes. And it will change. I don't see it changing in our lifetime, but in our children's lifetime, they most likely will not be living in a dualistic universe. That's our goal, is to move into a unified field and not a dualistic field. But until that happens, we experience lack so that desire can be born, because you don't know what you want until you know, right? Till you figure out what you don't want usually first, what you don't like. And then from that, your desire list is born. And then at that point, how much do you want it? How much do you believe it's available for you? How much can you surrender after setting your intentions and saying, these are my intentions, universe, conspire for me on my behalf. And that's what happens when you choose what you want. When you tell the universe, and with every ounce of energy inside of you, you say, this is it. This is what I want. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to see. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to live. This is how much money I want to have. This is what I'm going to do with it. Like when you just be like, this is it, man. When you decide with all of your energy, you will feel the shift and you will feel the universe conspire around you. I've been playing with this. I have been playing with this. And let me tell you, I can feel it when I make a decision, when I choose and say, nope, there's no doubt. Whatever comes from this choice, I'm willing to play out. I'm going all in. And you feel the universe conspire, because here's what happens when you make a choice. Now your guides, the universe, they have to now start closing this timeline and path that you are on. And so we have to grieve that. But as that's happening, a new one's being born. So they're reorganizing, they're aligning that path and presenting the people, places, and things that will help you get exactly where you want to be. And they know, right? Because what they're doing is not doing something for you. They are a version of you. Majority of your guides are aspects of you. And they have the plan. They have the plan. And they know these are your potentials. And any new potentials, they can help organize those too. So when you decide, Spirit will then come in and they will put all the people, places, and things in front of you to help you get there. But oftentimes, we have an expectation of how that's going to look. We have an expectation of how that's going to go because we try to do the how. And the how's not your job. Your job is to be clear about what you want, to believe it's available to you, to be that change by getting up every day and taking the inspired action that it would take to be that person. That's all you have to do. And as those people, places, and things come to you, is aligning it, running it through your structure and saying, is this something that I'm subscribing to? Is this something that's going to benefit me? Is this something that's going to help me get to that next version of me? Is this something that's going to help me get to that desire? And if you don't know, you have to feel, you have to be able to tap into what we call our intuition and say, what is this? Does this feel good to me? Or does it feel not good? And then taking the action, no matter how scary, because you know it's the right thing to do. This is how we're going to navigate February. It's a very powerful month, and every single person has the ability to harness this energy and change their life drastically. But it's going to take a commitment to self that has not been seen yet by a lot of people, like radical commitment to their self and their journey. So let me see if we have any questions before we wrap. Chris says, where your attention goes, your energy flows and your manifestation shows. Bingo. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, everybody. If you have any questions, please let me know. Let me just see if there's any questions over here. Thank you, all you beautiful souls who are on TikTok with me right now. Thank you for hopping on. Okay, so we're going to wrap this. I love you guys. Please check out the Synergy workshops. If you are on TikTok, you can go to the link in my bio and you can learn more about those. The Synergy workshops, again, they're very affordable, and it's a great way to ask me questions, to work with me privately, and to have that support that you need in a group setting. I also have a subscription group on YouTube that does 2 monthly Language of Light healings. So anything beyond that, you guys can check out johannaburkhardt.com, and I will be back, if not before March 1st for March's update. But if more stuff comes in before then, if I feel called to come on, I will be there. So make sure you have me on notification, because I do have some awesome announcements coming up of ways of which I can be of support to you guys. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for